What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Pro Football Talk. And today we're going to get into a two-round mock draft. My second one of the off season. My first one, we only went through a first rounder, but I decided to do a two-rounder today because there's a lot more talent I want to go through in the draft and where I'm going to put them. And yeah, it's going to be definitely much more interesting to watch because you can't leave these guys out. A lot of these guys that go in the second round are worth the first round pick as well. It's just a really deep draft class. So, yeah, let's get right into it here. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, that's a lock. And then number two, New York Jets. I have them taking Zach Wilson here. Uh, he's just a great all-around quarterback. I'm not a big believer that they're going to stick with Sam Darnold. He's had a chance for like 3 years now, and it's just, it's not working out. So I get a replacement. Zach Wilson is probably going to be a much better quarterback. They got a lot of cap space, so surround him in offensive line, surround him with weapons, and he'll be a great rookie quarterback for sure. So that's a good pick there for the Jets. And number three here, we're going to take Penei Sewell. Now, a lot of people think that he's going to be moved to a left tackle position. I think he's going to stay in the right tackle position. And I believe that because Tua Tagovailoa is a left-hand thrower, and which means the blind side is coming from the right tackle position. And I think they'll trust Penei Sewell to be blocking that side, be the blind side blocker, and he's amazing in pass protection. He's pretty good in the run too, so he's a good all-around tackle, a franchise tackle there to be protecting Tua Tagovailoa. I do have him landing Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay in free agency, so that's why there's no receiver here for Tua. But Penei Sewell, that's an amazing pick there. And then the Atlanta Falcons, they are not going to be at number 4 overall in probably quite a while, so why not go get Justin Fields? He's still a very talented quarterback. He's getting pushed back a lot in mock drafts. I don't believe that. Justin Fields has really good talent. The only issue with him holds onto the ball in the pocket too long. It's pretty obvious where he's throwing. But that's why he is in a perfect situation to sit behind Matt Ryan for a year or two and learn the scheme, learn the development of Arthur Smith's offensive scheme there. And I think he'll excel pretty well there. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, I went with Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase. And I think that because, they have receivers. They got Tyler Boyd. They got T. Higgins, who they drafted last year in the second round. Um, why not go get a weapon at tight end now? They don't have anyone at tight end, so might as well get a weapon there, line him up at tight end. He can line up in the slot, and Kyle Pitts can honestly line up at receiver too. Kyle Pitts is an all-around do-it-all guy on the offensive scheme, and I think he'll fit very well with Joe Burrow at quarterback, and I think Joe Burrow will really like that pick too. So, Bengals snag Kyle Pitts there. And the Philadelphia Eagles, I have them taking Jamar Chase, the first receiver off the board, my wide receiver one of the draft. The only edge I have him over Devontae Smith is the size. They're both very good receivers. I just think Jamar Chase does it a little bit better. And a lot of people are starting to forget what happened in 2019. Yes, I get that Devontae Smith won the Heisman, but I mean, if Jamar Chase was there in the same season, it would have been a toss-up. It would have been pretty fun to watch if Jamar Chase and Devontae Smith played this well as they did in the same season. It would be pretty interesting. But I got Jamar Chase going to the Eagles here. But the next pick is going to be Devontae Smith to the Lions. They need a receiver. Who knows, if they're going to franchise tag Kenny Golladay. I mean, they could, but he's likely not going to play on a franchise tag. He says he's wanting a deal. So it could be likely that the Lions franchise tag him and move on from him from trading him, or they could sign him to a new deal. Who knows? It's pretty early in the offseason, so we're not sure yet. And I think Marvin Jones is guaranteed. not coming back to the Lions. So go get yourself a playmaker in Devontae Smith. And then the Carolina Panthers. This one's going to be interesting for everyone. But I got Mac Jones going off the board here. And a lot of people are going to be shocked. But you really shouldn't be, because I do think I'm a big believer on he is going to go in the top 10. Mac Jones, yeah, there's a lot of rumors swinging around saying, oh, he's throwing to open receivers. But he showed he can throw in tight windows in the Senior Bowl. And he is a character guy. He's a really fun guy to be around, really fun guy to watch. And you saw Matt Rule and Mac Jones talking it up a lot at the Senior Bowl. And Matt Rule was coaching him. So honestly, it is a possibility there. And I really, really do think it could happen. I do think Mac Jones could go over Trey Lance, just because Mac Jones can probably start um, before Trey Lance would in the first rookie season. I think Trey Lance is the guy you'd have to sit. Um, but yeah, Mac Jones, he's got a good talent, and just people aren't seeing it because of those Alabama receivers. But I think Mac Jones is going to be a great quarterback in Carolina Panthers offensive scheme there. And then we got Caleb Farley going to the Denver Broncos. An awesome press man. He's a good zone cover corner. He'll fit what Vic Fangio wants in his defense. And following that, we're going to take Patrick Surtain to the Cowboys. So both cornerbacks off the board. Both elite talents. I only got Caleb Farley over Patrick Surtain because of that agility, that athleticism, the speed. Patrick Surtain doesn't really have that, but his technique shows that he doesn't really need the speed. Technique matters more over speed, in my opinion, at the corner position. So that's good there for the Cowboys. They get to pair him up with Trevon Diggs. And then we got Jalen Waddle going to the New York Giants. Now, if Danny Dimes cannot succeed with a playmaker like Jalen Waddle, I do not think he will be the quarterback of the season in 2022. I think Joe Judge will just be fed up with him. I mean, they've given him a chance. Andrew Thomas, I think, is going to really succeed as a left tackle in his second season, so that'll be good. I'll be interesting to watch how Danny Dimes does if they do select Jalen Waddle in the 2021 NFL Draft. And then they have 49ers are here, and they're happy to take Trey Lance. If they do decide to keep Jimmy G, you could sit Trey Lance for a year, which is probably the best idea. Um, but yeah, Trey Lance, it's a quarterback friendly scheme over there in the 49ers system. So I think Trey Lance would be a really good fit there. And then the Chargers are going to take the best tackle on the board that's left, Sean Slater. It's pretty popular pick, but it's pretty close here. Because I was really thinking of taking Micah Parsons. And reason being is because of how good I think he'd fit in Brandon Staley's defense. He'd be an elite playmaker. Imagine Micah Parsons, Derwin James together. You got Joey Bosa. I mean, just elite talent on that defense there if Micah Parsons were to go here. But, I just got to stick with protecting your rookie, or, well, now heading into second season. But Sean Slater, he's going to be a perfect player to protect Justin Herbert. And then we got the Minnesota Vikings. They're in a pretty interesting spot. Interior O-line, I thought of it, but it's kind of rich here for Elijah Vera, talking to go at 14, in my opinion. I'm not quite sure if he's a top 20 talent. Could be, but so he could have gone here. Safety is a pretty big one, but it isn't a no-trade mock draft. They'd only trade back to get a safety. I don't think they'd pick Javon Morrig here. So what we did was we went with Christian Barmore. And Christian Barmore is a very good defensive tackle. He's a pretty complete defensive tackle, considering he's only a sophomore. He played really well at Alabama. This was his only first year where he was like a full-time starter, and he succeeded really well in the run and in the pass rush. And Vikings have been lacking a defensive tackle for a while, but they get one here at number 14. And then New England Patriots are going to take Micah Parsons here. Makes too much sense. I don't think Parsons would fall out of the top 15 if he was there for the Patriots. I think the Patriots are probably going to go out and get a veteran quarterback, probably Marcus Mariota. That's probably my top option for them. Uh, but yeah, you can't go wrong with Micah Parsons here. Then the Cardinals. News broke out that J.J. Watt signed with the Cardinals, and I originally had him taking Azeez Ojulari, but now that's not happening. So that kind of shook up the mock draft after pick 15. And I just had to go with the safe pick at this point. That's J.C. Horn. Um, Now it just makes too much sense that they signed J.J. Watt. The other people have mocked edge there, but that's obviously not going to happen now. With J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones there, Son Reddick probably is going to get the franchise tag. So yeah, we went with the safe pick there, J.C. Horn. He's a physical corner. I think he really will fit that scheme there. The Las Vegas Raiders. Uh, they need edge talent, and they just need D-line talent in general. Um, Too rich for any interior D-line to go here, so we did decide to go edge. Gus Bradley likes to run only four up front and then drop everyone else in coverage, so we did go with Kwity Paye. He's kind of a John Gruden guy. He's got a big motor. Translates speed to power really well. He's got a pretty good bend for an edge, and he's just got that physical tools and really the athletic tools as well. I mean, I think he's going to have an amazing pro day, and that will really solidify his talent to be in the top 20. He will not fall out of the top 20, in my opinion. So, Kwity Paye to the Raiders. And then we have linebacker going off the board here, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Very rangy linebacker guy, can cover in the slot. He can cover as a linebacker, cover. He could be a strong safety in my opinion. He's a great blitzer. He's just a do-it-all linebacker, and they'd love that in that Miami defensive scheme there. Just increase the defensive talent they already have there at in Miami there. So JOK is a good pick. Then we went with Christian Darrisaw here. And, Morgan Moses and Cornelius Lucas, I think it is, they're getting a little older. Start fresh with a new offensive tackle. And for them to get Christian Darrisaw at number 19 is pretty amazing. He is definitely worth the top 20 talent. He's probably even in the top 15 talent in the other draft. So it's a good value pick there. And honestly, it's a good need for the Washington football team. Then the Bears are also going to go with the tackle, Jalen Mayfield. He's more of a power run guy. He's not really much of a pass protector yet. He's not really developed in that part of his game. But yeah, I had to go with him here at the Chicago Bears because I think the Bears are going to be more of that power run team heading into 2021. That's probably because they're going to be having to keep Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. There's probably no other option they can go here unless they sign a veteran quarterback like Andy Dalton or something. But even still, they're probably going to be more of a run-heavy team with David Montgomery. He's pretty good running back there. So getting Jalen Mayfield will really help that. Then the Colts here. A lot of people have Rashad Bateman falling out of the first round. I don't. His talent, he's a complete receiver. A lot of his game looks like Keenan Allen. So I think the Colts should use him how the Chargers use Keenan Allen, running from the slot and on the outside. He's got a huge route tree, so that's really what the Colts need to look for in a receiver. Zach Pascal is all right. I'm not sure if he's a free agent. They did just draft Michael Pittman in the second round last year. He's a pretty decent receiver. He did well, and I expect him to step up in the second half of the season, or in the second season of his. So Rashad Bateman will really complement him there as a receiver one. And then the Titans, I have them taking a shot here at Jalen Phillips. One team is going to take a shot at him in the first round. The only concern about him is those concussions. And if you're playing along the D line, you're pretty high chances of getting a concussion because you're sticking your hand in the dirt. You're ready to play against the run. You're gonna pass protect. You're going off against these offensive linemen. So that's why it's pretty dangerous there. But I do think the Titans need a pure pass rusher. And Jalen Phillips, he's all right in the run game, but he is so good in the pass rush. He's got a bunch of crafty pass rushing moves, got a nasty bend for an edge, and he translates speed to power very well, which not enough people talk about in my opinion. So I think the Titans need to go out and get Jalen Phillips. Then the Jets, I have him taking a 4-3 end Gregory Rousseau. I don't think he falls this far. He's talented. He brought the production for technically his freshman season. Didn't really play much in his actual freshman season, but he is a redshirt sophomore, and to get 15 and a half sacks, it's pretty amazing. But you can't just talk about statistics. You got to talk about evaluation of the actual player, and most of the time, if you watch his tape, he's the last one to get off the line of scrimmage, which kind of sucks. You'd expect a better get off. And a lot of his pressure came from the interior. So, it's not ideal for an edge rusher, but it's ideal for a 4-3 scheme fit. Um, so, yeah, Gregory Rousseau is going to be a good pick there, a good development for Robert Salah in his defense. And then the Steelers, they're going to go here. They're going to take a tackle because they really need one. Villanueva is gone. I think they're going to stick with Okorafor at right tackle. So getting Tevin Jenkins at left tackle, replacing Villanueva is a big need, and Tevin Jenkins is going to fill that really well. 6'6", 310. He plays nasty. He just fits what the Steelers want there at tackle. And then the Jaguars, I have them taking Trevon Moehrig here. For some reason, the Draft Network's got Richie Grant higher than Trevon Moehrig. It's pretty ironic. I mean, Trevon Moehrig is the easy, clear-cut safety one of this class. He plays deep safety. He can come up. He can hit in the run. The Jaguars is just lacking that kind of safety that they need in their scheme. So it'd be a perfect fit there. Perfect fit there for the Jaguars. And then the Browns. Not many people have this mocked, and honestly, I think it's a good mock. Azeez Ojulari, if he's there for the Browns, I think they have to hit that because Myles Garrett needs that other pass rusher aside from him for Myles Garrett to benefit a lot from it as well. If Azeez Ojulari is there, I feel like Myles Garrett's going to do a lot better. And Azeez Ojulari, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's meant for a 3-4 scheme. But 4-3, he could play 4-3 too. I think he just needs to fill out his frame. Keep in mind he's only a sophomore, so 240 is kind of light. It'll be interesting to see how he weighs in at his pro day. I definitely do expect him to weigh in about 10, 15 pounds higher. And if he's still the athlete that he was playing at Georgia this season, and he plays well at that size, he is definitely going to be a first rounder and definitely a good fit here for the Browns. And here's another good fit that I'm probably going to be mocking for a long time in the first round because I don't expect the Ravens to get him in the second. Wyatt Davis, power run guard, and that's just what they need and what they do in Baltimore's offensive scheme. Greg Roman's not really doesn't really run too many different types of offensive plays. It's more of a basic run guy, vertical receiver routes. So, Wyatt Davis just makes a lot of sense there. Picking him for that power run scheme that they do there. And definitely will help out Lamar Jackson a lot. And then New Orleans Saints here. Missed out on Trevon Moehrig. But I have him taking an edge here. Trey Henderson is a free agent. Marcus Davenport is just not it, in my opinion. He's never will be, has never been that good of an edge. So I have him taking actually Carlos Basham here. And Carlos Basham had a really good Senior Bowl. Played really well at Wake Forest. Had a little bit of a down season this year, but a lot of players kind of did because of COVID. You can't really do anything about that. But I think Carlos Basham is just an excellent pick and a great fit for the Saints. They do run that 4-3 scheme. He's a guy who can rush from the interior for sure as well. At that size, 6'3", 281, pretty big for an edge rusher. So a good pick there. Then the Packers, they will go here with Asante Samuel Jr. This guy here, he's probably more of a slot than an outside corner. But Shannon Sullivan, not it. He's not it for that slot position. Kevin King, a lot of people are blowing him up because of that last game they played in the playoffs. And everyone's just like, yeah, get rid of him, get rid of him. But Kevin King this season, he hasn't been good, but he hasn't been bad. He's been in the middle, kind of a moderate kind of corner, needs a little bit more development. But I think they need to address the slot position first, and Asante Samuel Jr. is easily the best slot corner in this draft. And I think being at Florida State um, really deteriorated his gameplay because he's much better than what he would have been like at least a top 15, top 10 pick if he played on like LSU or Alabama or something. I mean, it's just the talent around him at the Florida State defense really dropped his game as well. So it sucks to see that, but I do think he's a first rounder for sure. Then the Buffalo Bills, pretty easy pick here. Nick Bolton, they need that kind of guy. Releasing Matt Milano just makes a lot of sense. And then the Chiefs, they're lucky to get Elijah Vera Tucker here. Just good players fall in the draft. You can't really do anything about it. Um, but yeah, he's just gonna fit what they need there, and they need a lot of offensive line help. So, and like a lot of them are old, so that's why bringing in fresh offensive linemen is just the best way to do it. Signing younger guys in free agency as well will really help out Patrick Mahomes because you saw the Super Bowl. He really even got enough time to sit in the pocket and throw. So, and then the Buccaneers, they are gonna take an edge rusher here. They're gonna go with Jason Owe. Jason Owe fits that 3-4 outside linebacking scheme, and I think Shaq Barrett is probably going to be one of those guys that they don't bring back. I do think they will bring back Chris Godwin and Levante David. I think Shaq Barrett's going to be the guy that's left out, considering he's going to be up there, upwards towards 20 million a year, which is crazy. I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to bring that back. That expensive of a contract. They just don't have the cap for it. So Shaq Barrett's probably gonna be walking into free agency, and with Jason always still there at 32, it just makes a lot of sense. And then we have an offensive tackle off the board here to the Jaguars. I have Dylan Radunes going here. I'm super high on this guy. Had an amazing Senior Bowl. Played really good at North Dakota State. A lot of people are dropping him because he only played like 3 games this season. Um, but he's just an awesome offensive tackle, and we saw him play guard at Senior Bowl as well. And yeah, he's just going to be an awesome left tackle that they need there. Cam Robinson's just not it. Alex Leatherwood's a lot like Cam Robinson. What's going to happen? I do think Alex Leatherwood should be a guard in the NFL, so I don't think he's going to go off the board here. Dylan Radunes makes a lot of sense to protect your franchise quarterback. And then we got the Jets on the board here, and we are going to go with Kadarius Toney. I think he'll complement Denzel Mims really well there. Denzel Mims is that big radius kind of catch guy, but Kadarius Toney, he's more of a smaller guy, but a guy who's electric with his feet. He moves quick in his routes. He's got a really expanded route tree he can do from the slot and from the outside. He's one of those guys where you move around a lot in your offense, and I think he'll just fit that Jets offense scheme now very well. And he plays at a really high level. Comparisons going from him to Dante Hall, so it says a lot there. And then we got the Atlanta Falcons on the board. We're just gonna go with value here, and that's Zaven Collins. They need a linebacker as well. They do run a 3-4 scheme there, and they got Fowler Jr. Outside linebacker. Zaven Collins can definitely play outside linebacker as well. He can play weak side linebacker. I think he can play Mike linebacker. He'll complement Deion Jones really well, and to be rotating with Fowler Jr. a lot at outside linebacker will really help his game because I do think he has the skill set to play 3-4 outside linebacker. And the Miami Dolphins here, we went with Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is he's kind of similar to what Kadarius Toney is. You're going to use these two guys really similar in the offensive schemes there. Like I said again, I didn't have Miami Dolphins taking a receiver in the first round because I do think they'd land Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay in the free agency. So taking a slot guy like Elijah Moore to replace Jakeem Grant, who's getting up there in age, no harm against Jakeem Grant. He's a really good freaking slot receiver, but Elijah Moore is just that replacement. He's just like I said, really similar to Kadarius Toney's game. Not much difference there. I'm pretty high on Elijah Moore, so. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, they're gonna go with Pat Freiermuth. Um, he's just a guy, Nick Sirianni heading in there. He's gonna be that, head coach slash offense coordinator kind of guy. He's gonna run the offense. He likes to run those two tight end sets. And with Zach Ertz, I think he's gonna get traded to the Seattle Seahawks this season. That's my trade freaking prediction. So Pat Freiermuth to the Philadelphia Eagles, and pairing him up with Dallas Goedert, there's a really good option for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we got the Bengals. They got Jonah Williams probably going to return this season, but that still doesn't get over the fact that they need a right tackle. And Liam Eichenberg, in my opinion, can play left or right tackle. He doesn't really have an athletic ability, but he's just a stand-up guy who is really physical. It'll be interesting to see how he does his pro day actually, because we want to see how athletic he can play at the tackle position, but I think he'll fit that right tackle need very well for the Bengals. And then Carolina Panthers. Um, for here, you know, offensive tackle is a need. Taylor Moton and Russell Okung heading into free agency, but I do think they're going to franchise tag Taylor Moton. They probably won't have the cap to bring back Russell Okung, so I do think Russell Okung's heading into free agency, but they can land another guy in free agency or land another guy later in the draft here. Because I'm really high on a guy like Jabril Cox. And he'll accompany Shaq Thompson very well. Shaq Thompson's more of the guy who's just going to maul the run game. And Jabril Cox can do that as well. But Jabril Cox is a guy who's a really rangy linebacker who covers everywhere along the field. He got tested a lot in coverage in this season at LSU, first season there, transferring from North Dakota State. He's just an amazing coverage linebacker, and putting him there at Carolina's defensive scheme, he's gonna do awesome there, and that defense is gonna really step up this season. So Triple Cox there is a good pick. And Joseph Osai here is gonna go to the Denver Broncos, 3-4 outside linebacking kind of guy. They're gonna get rid of Von Miller this season probably. Um, so Joseph Osai just makes too much sense. I used to have a first round grade on him. But watching a lot more tape on other guys, I have him over Joseph Osai now. But no regards. I mean, Joseph Osai is a really good edge rusher. I mean, he's got a high motor. His athletic ability is good, but there's better athletic edge rushers out there in this draft above him. But it'll be interesting to see how he plays at Denver. And then Detroit Lions. Uh, They got their new defensive coordinator there. He used to be the defensive backs coach of the Saints. Can't remember his name now, but especially with corners in need there, they got Jeff Okudah last season. I think he's really going to develop Jeff Okudah well. But they need another guy. I don't think Desmond Trufant is it there at the corner position. So we went with a guy like Greg Newsome, who I'm pretty high on as well. And he's more of an off-ball kind of guy, but he can play in man coverage. I mean, we don't really see it too much at Northwestern, but I do think he can. He's talented enough. He's another guy who's interesting to watch his pro day, how he plays. He's a really fluid corner. He moves fast. He excels in zone coverage. Yeah, but taking Greg Newsome here, I think that's the defensive coordinator pick here. He wants to develop another corner, and developing Greg Newsome is probably your best option here at 41. And then we have the Giants taking Joe Tryon, 3-4 outside linebacker. They need one of those, and Joe Tryon's viewed highly in the NFL, so I do think he'll probably end up going in the first or second round. So Giants is a good fit there. And then the 49ers, they're going to take another kind of scheme fit kind of guy, Fetu Melifonwu. He's got crazy size and length, 6'2", 212. They say scheme fit zone, but I really do think he'll be more of a man coverage kind of guy playing at that size. It'll be really hard for receivers to get around him, especially if Fetu gets his hands on guys at the line of scrimmage. Didn't really see too much at Syracuse because they are more of that zone scheme kind of defense, but that's good for Melifonwu because you can learn that man coverage scheme pretty easily because of your size and you still know how to play zone, so it just makes sense there. And then the Cowboys, they're gonna go with the Texas guy. Samuel Cosmi has fell pretty far on my board, but some people have him in the first, some people have him way later. I mean, he's just kind of that guy that we don't know where his draft stock is right now. He lacks the physical tools for a tackle a lot, and they need a tackle there, but they still have Tyron Smith there at left tackle, so it makes a lot of sense with Samuel Cosmi developing on the bench in practice. While Tyron Smith plays, but knowing Tyron Smith probably will end up getting injured again, so not much you can do there. But Samuel Cosmi is just a perfect fit, so you can develop gain those physical tools and learn how to use them at the tackle position. And then we have the Jaguars taking a slot guy here. A lot of people see him as a safety as well. I'm more of a slot kind of guy, and that's Elijah Molden. Where is he here? Where is he? Here he is. Elijah Molden. He's an excellent slot guy. A ball hawk, super fast, not afraid to play against the run. He's a super physical guy. So I think it just makes a lot of sense. And pairing up Elijah Molden at slot, getting Trayvon Merrick in the safety, still getting a franchise left tackle, Dylan Radune's protecting Trevor Lawrence, makes a lot of sense. Team's really going to step up next season for sure. Next up, we have the Patriots taking Rondale Moore here. Rondale Moore is a physical guy for that size. Plays at 5'9", 175. Sorry. 5'9", 175. He's a super physical guy. Electric with the ball in his hands. Runs extremely nice routes. And, a lot of people are going to drop him in their mock drafts because of the injury concerns, but it doesn't concern me. He's a perfect fit for the Patriots there. So I like that. And then we got the Chargers taking Creed Humphrey here. And Creed Humphrey is, I think, just more of a fit there for the Chargers. Landon Dickerson could go as well, but I think they need a guy that is going to come in and step in right away. Landon Dickerson's probably not going to play this season, or at least not play half of it because of that torn ACL. But both would make sense. I just went with Creed Humphrey because I like the fit there, and a guy who's just going to step in right away because I think the Chargers are dark horse contenders there in the playoffs. So then the Raiders back on the board taking Aleem McNeil. Lions super high on. He's a pocket pushing guy, more of a nose tackle. Plays the run super well, plays the pass rush super well, and he's just getting his stock is really rising in a lot of people's boards. He used to be like the third, fourth rounder. A lot of people have him in the early to mid second round now. Some even in the first, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, Lee McNeil is a super talented interior D lineman. And I suggest you watch his tape because at 6'2", 315, he can move. He can move fast for that size. So he's a really good pick there for the Raiders. And then Travis Etienne. Here go the running backs now off the board. I'm not a big guy on taking running backs in the first round. But Travis Etienne would really fit Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and they need a running back there, so makes sense. Miami Dolphins here are going to take Najee Harris. They also need a running back to a complement to a Tagovailoa and pairing them up. Alabama brothers there, so that's also a good fit. And then the Washington football team, they are going to go with Terrace Marshall Jr. here. Sucks they didn't get a quarterback, but I think they're going to reunite themselves with Cam Newton. You know, he succeeded the best under Ron Rivera's scheme. So getting two receivers there, Terry McLaurin, Terrace Marshall Jr. with a really good O-line there, I think Cam Newton honestly could succeed in Washington if he were to go there. You know, that's where my prediction was where he lands this offseason is with the Washington football team. And then the Browns are going to go take another receiver as well, Monroe St. Brown. Crazy route runner. He can do it from the slot and the outside. Allen Robinson most likely not returning to the Bears, so it just makes sense there. And then I decided to get Tennessee at interior D lineman in Devion Nixon. A lot of people are higher, have Levi Onwuzurike higher. I have Devion Nixon higher. I mean, we didn't really see a full starting season from Devion Nixon, but you see a lot of the upside. A lot of the upside. You know, he's another one of those guys, super physical, pushes the pocket really nicely. And yeah, you know, you can't go wrong with another interior D lineman because I think Daquan Jones is the one who's probably going to be departing in free agency, so makes sense there. Then the Colts are going to go with and tackle here. We went with Rashad Bateman in the first round, but getting Walker Little here makes a lot of sense. They need a tackle to protect Carson Wentz. They just recently traded for him as well. Walker Little is kind of similar to Samuel Cosmi, honestly. You know, they both are very tall, athletic tackles at the left tackle position, but Walker Little, I think, can do it better. Haven't really seen Walker Little play in a couple of years, but you know, I think he'll really succeed. You know, we used to talk about Walker Little as a top 10, top 5 offense tackle prospect, you know, just a year ago. So Walker Little is a great pick there for the Colts. And then the Steelers are also going to notch themselves a running back in Javonte Williams. You know, the three-headed running backs, Javonte Williams, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, clear cut the best running backs of this class. You know, it's super hard to edge them out, who's better and who's what. But I think I just base them all off scheme fits there. I mean, Travis Etienne fits Cardinals really well. I think Najee Harris fits the Dolphins really well because, you know, pairing up the Alabama players. And then Javonte Williams is just that power run guy that they need in Steelers City. So good pick there. And then Seahawks are going to go with the interior O lineman, and they need O line really badly. Landon Dickerson is a guy who's going to friggin' play amazing and a great leadership kind of guy, great character. He's going to really want to protect Russell Wilson. You know, Russell Wilson's been agitated with the way his O line is played. So getting Landon Dickerson will really help that out a lot. And like I said again, Landon Dickerson probably not going to play in the first season. You know, probably missed like at least 3/4, a half of it with that torn ACL, but still an awesome fit there. Then the Rams, they're going to go out and get themselves an edge rusher here, 3-4 outside linebacker. Kind of that Leo role. You kind of see it, but because Quincy Roche, you know, he's not bad against the run, but he's a friggin' great pass rusher, and I really love his pass rushing game a lot, and I really fell in love with it after the Senior Bowl, so it's a good fit there with the Rams, because Leonard Floyd's heading into free agency, probably not going to have the cap to bring him back, so Quincy Roche is another guy who makes a lot of sense. Then the Ravens are going to go out and get themselves a receiver. You know, they could go edge, but I don't really see any edges go here. I don't think Ronnie Perkins fits the scheme. And after that, I have third round and deeper, you know, third round, fourth round, fifth round grades on these guys. So didn't decide to go edge rusher here. I went with receiver, and I'm pretty high on a guy like De'Ami Brown, super fluid receiver, can do it from the slot and on the outside. He also fits that vertical receiving scheme there in the Ravens, where Greg Roman likes to run. And we decided to give the Browns a corner, and that's Kelvin Joseph. a guy who's been getting recently a lot of hype, and they need a cornerback too to accompany Denzel Ward, and Calvin Joseph just makes a lot of sense. A lot of people talk about him locking up that one side against Alabama, and honestly, it makes sense. He was locking up that one side of the field, and I don't think there was even a corner that can do that this season other than Calvin Joseph. But he played a pretty good season in general. I mean, he just brings a lot of upside there. So accompanying him with Denzel Ward makes a lot of sense. He's a press man, kind of zone guy. Can run both, so I really like that. Then the Saints, they need a safety badly. They're probably going to lose Marcus Williams, so they need to replace him with a guy like Richie Grant who fell to 60. So they're really happy with that. I'm much higher on Richie Grant than number 60 overall. I'd probably see him as an early second rounder, heading from around 32 to 40. But for him to fall to 60 here, the Saints are really happy with that. And then we got Ronnie Perkins falling here to the Buffalo Bills. This is a scheme fit that I like here. Ronnie Perkins, super physical guy. He'll play with Jerry Hughes really good. I'm not sure if Mario Addison's a free agent, but I like what Mario Addison did at the start of the season, but then he just took a downfall pretty hard. Didn't really show up in many games. Not a really good pass rusher. Did decent against the run, but not that good. So I think Ronnie Perkins is a really good pick. And the Packers here. We went with the receiver because I think they're going to address right tackle in free agency. I mean, if you look at the odd tackle board, I mean, James Hudson's a guy, but he's more of a power run, developmental pass protection tackle. Jackson Carman projects better at guard, in my opinion. Same with Leatherwood. Spencer Brown's another developmental guy, and just not good enough for a second rounder. Like none of these guys are second rounders to me, so that's why I went with receiver, and I went with Amari Rogers. They lack a slot receiver that they need, and they can use a weapon like Rogers, and I think LaFleur is going to use him really well in the scheme, move him around a lot, and that'll help out Aaron Rodgers a lot in the throwing game. And then the Chiefs here, we went with a linebacker. They need a linebacker. They've been lacking a linebacker for a long time. And Chaz Surratt here is amazing because he can diagnose the football field very well, being a former quarterback. And he just sees everything through a quarterback's eyes, so he knows how it's going to run. He knows how the play is going to go. And with development, I think he can be an awesome linebacker, considering he's only recently moved to the linebacking position. He's still got a lot of time and a lot of upside he's going to bring there. And then the Bucks, we're going to finish off the draft here with Levi Onwuzurike. Another guy who fits really well there. Played nose tackle at Washington, but I see him more as just a interior rusher, stopping the run kind of guy. 3-down defensive tackle. He's really good. Really good pick there and a really good scheme fit. So I like that. And yeah, that's going to do it for the draft, everyone. If you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It'll help out the channel a lot. And probably only going to be doing videos weekends-ish because school, I'm not really sure on what days I can do videos and not on whatnot. So yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.